The Atlanta Falcons could be headed for one of the most pivotal off-seasons in recent history, with some potential trades and changes coming, all of which have generated a lot of discussion on the web. And I'll give you the details, so be sure to hit that like button. The developments surrounding two stars could reshape not only the Falcons' immediate future, but potentially their trajectory for years to come. And, Falcons fans, the twists and turns in this story are absolutely incredible. Let's start with the quarterback situation, because frankly, it's a roller coaster ride. If you've been paying attention to the league's quarterback frenzy this offseason, you know that the Pittsburgh Steelers have been flirting with Aaron Rodgers quite a bit. And that flirting? It's having a direct impact on Atlanta. The rumors are flying, and according to ESPN's Adam Schefter, Steelers owner Art Rooney expects Rodgers to sign with Pittsburgh before mandatory minicamp, which begins on June 10th. You heard right, that could be resolved in just a few days. But here's where it gets dicey for the Falcons. If Rodgers says no thanks to Pittsburgh, guess who instantly jumps to the top of their wish list? You guessed it, Kirk Cousins. Now, whether that's because the Steelers want to win at any cost or simply because Mason Rudolph and Will Howard don't exactly scream Super Bowl window, it puts Cousins in a very precarious spot. The Falcons gambled back on March 15th. That's when Cousins' $10 million roster bonus became guaranteed. By keeping him past that date, the Falcons were either betting on his trade value staying intact or committing to paying that hefty bonus alongside the eye-popping $90 million guaranteed still owed to him. And unless a deal materializes soon, Atlanta is walking into 2025 with Cousins as a backup. Yeah, let that sink in. Michael Penix Jr. is firmly planted as the starter heading into the season after replacing Cousins in Week 15 last year. It's official, the Penix era has begun in Atlanta. For a bit of perspective, Cousins put up a 7-7 record last season with a completion percentage of 66.9%, tossing 3,508 yards and 18 touchdowns. Sounds solid, right? Well, it came with an asterisk, a league-leading 16 interceptions in just 14 games. Those turnover numbers were brutal, costly, and, frankly, a big reason why the Falcons made the switch. But just when you think that's the whole story, boom. Another bombshell, Jalen Ramsey. Yeah, the all-pro cornerback. NFL Network's Cameron Wolfe dropped a nugget that absolutely should have every Falcons fan on high alert. Ramsey's relationship with the Miami Dolphins? Crumbling. Wolfe flat out said, relationships are hard and the relationship between the Dolphins and Ramsey has simply run out. And the Falcons? Very much in the mix. Now, before you start photoshopping Ramsey into a Falcons jersey, here's the thing, the Dolphins aren't rushing this. They've got a massive financial incentive to wait. If they trade Ramsey before June 1st, they eat a $25 million cap hit. But after June 1st, that hit drops under $7 million. You better believe the phones in Miami are going to start blowing up after that date. Why would Ramsey even consider Atlanta? Simple. Raheem Morris. The current Falcons head coach has a strong history with Ramsey, going back to their time together with the Los Angeles Rams. Wolfe confirmed that the Dolphins are aware of which teams Ramsey would be willing to go to, and Atlanta is one of them because of that existing bond with Morris. Wolfe even mentioned other coaches like Ejiro Evero in Carolina, but let's be real, the draw to play for Raheem in Atlanta feels pretty strong. But here's the question a lot of you are probably asking, do the Falcons really need a cornerback that badly? Oh yeah. This secondary has holes. Sure, Atlanta grabbed Xavier Watts and Billy Bowman Jr. in the draft and even brought an undrafted free agent Kobe Bryant, who, let's be honest, has turned some heads. But none of these guys are expected to step in as an immediate lockdown outside corner. Right now, the plan is for Mike Hughes to start opposite A.J. Terrell. Look, Hughes is a solid player, but Jalen Ramsey? That's a whole different level. Adding him instantly upgrades the defense and gives Atlanta a shot at turning that unit into one of the best in the league. You combine that with an offense being rebuilt around Michael Penix Jr., Drake London, Bijan Robinson, and Kyle Pitts, and suddenly, things start looking very interesting. And just when you thought this offseason circus was full, enter the kicker battle. That's right, Falcons fans, even the special teams unit is delivering drama. Veteran kicker Younghoe Koo, who has been the definition of reliable since 2019, suddenly finds himself with real competition, Lenny Krieg, a German kicker brought in through the NFL's International Player Pathway program. This isn't just a gimmick either. Krieg showed up at the NFL Combine and drilled all 14 of his field goal attempts. Falcons special teams coordinator Marcus Williams saw it, loved it, and made sure the front office signed him the very next day after the IPP Pro Day. Williams even said, just seeing him kick in person, spending more time with him, it was a no-brainer. But here's where it gets wild. Younghoe Koo had an uncharacteristic season last year. He hit just 73.5% of his field goals, including a brutal 3-miss game against the Saints in Week 10. Injuries didn't help either. Koo landed on IR in Week 16 with a right hip issue. So now the question becomes, is Koo still the guy? Or does Krieg's booming leg and the fact that he wouldn't count against the 53-man roster thanks to the IPP rule make him the surprise winner? And look, Williams isn't tipping his hand. He's been careful, saying Koo has been hitting the ball well during the offseason program but stopped short of giving full updates on his health. The kicker battle could end up being one of the most underrated storylines when mandatory minicamp kicks off on June 10th. So Falcons fans, with all of this swirling, Kirk Cousins' uncertain future, Jalen Ramsey possibly eyeing Atlanta, and even a kicker controversy, this team is anything but boring right now. But I want to hear from you. What do you think about this quarterback situation? Should the Falcons move on from Cousins if the chance comes? And how would you feel about Jalen Ramsey locking down the secondary in Atlanta? Drop your thoughts in the comments because this is about to get really interesting. And let's be honest, the Ramsey situation feels like it's about to explode. The June 1st date isn't just a random number on the calendar, it's the key that unlocks everything. After that, the Dolphins can trade him without taking a massive cap hit, and Atlanta becomes one of the most logical destinations. The combination of Raheem Morris' influence and the Falcons' need at cornerback makes this feel more like a win than an if. But it's not just about fit, it's about mindset. Ramsey isn't a guy you bring in to just fill a spot. You bring him in to set a tone. To change the culture. Pairing him with A.J. Terrell? That's a statement. That tells the NFC South and the entire league that Atlanta isn't just rebuilding, they're coming for it all. You can almost picture it now, Ramsey jawing at receivers, Terrell locking down the other side, and an aggressive pass rush finally getting the support it deserves from the back end. Meanwhile, the kicker battle continues to simmer. And don't underestimate how crucial this is. Games are won and lost on the leg of a kicker. If Koo can't bounce back from his hip injury and last season's slump, the Falcons could be forced to make a very tough decision. Lenny Krieg isn't just here for a feel-good international story, he's legit. His performance at the Combine wasn't a fluke, and special teams coordinator Marcus Williams has made it clear that this competition is real. So, as we inch closer to minicamp, the pressure mounts. For Cousins. For Ramsey. For Koo. And for the front office that has to juggle it all. Falcons fans, buckle up, this offseason might end up being just as thrilling as anything we've seen on the field. Now, it's your turn. What's your take? Should the Falcons push all in for Jalen Ramsey? Is it time to let Kirk Cousins go and fully embrace the Michael Penix Jr. era? And who should be our kicker heading into 2025, Koo or Krieg? Drop your answers in the comments, because this offseason drama is far from over. And trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next. Leave your like, subscribe to the channel, and let's fly high together. Go Falcons!